Hey everyone, this is Kush from the Game Time blog, and this is my interview with Josh Looman, senior designer for Madden NFL 13, which will be in stores on Tuesday, August 28th for the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. And the first thing Josh talked about was the brand new Connected Careers mode.
I've been kind of working on ideas for this for a while now, but we sat down at the start of last year during the Madden 12 development cycle and started talking about how a lot of our career modes like Superstar mode and Franchise mode, they were older than a Franchise mode was like 15 years old, I think. Superstar mode was getting up there. It was probably about 6 or 7 years old, and it was just getting hard on a short development cycle every single year, having to kind of put out a new game every 9 months to figure out how to make all of the features great. You could take time and spend a little bit of time in offline Franchise mode, but then you didn't really have a ton of time to spend on Superstar or online Franchise, because all three of those modes were completely independent of each other. So if you were to come up with an idea and put it in one of them, it would take twice as much time to turn around and put it in the next one and then the one after that. So we started to think about a way, to create something that no other game had done. In our eyes, online is obviously the future of gaming. While there's people that obviously love playing offline modes, we tried to figure out a way to combine the best of what people loved in offline Franchise with the ability to play with your buddies in a league online season after season, and also potentially play as a player or a coach, whichever you want to choose. So we knew that Franchise mode, online or offline, needed a major facelift. So we decided to kind of bite the bullet, start doing some work on a brand new engine during the Madden 12 development cycle, set aside a little bit of time to work on the new engine, and then take that engine and kind of build, in our eyes, the ultimate career mode out of it. That would sort of allow you to have the ultimate flexibility and customization, be able to play it offline or online if you wanted to kind of make the choice to do whatever you want to. So you can either choose to start as a coach, and to kind of clear up, like you said, a little bit of the ambiguity there. When people think of coaching, it's not like NFL head coach 09. The experience is going to be very similar to what you've always had in Franchise mode. So you control a whole team. When you play on the field, you control offense, defense, you can control every single player. You scout players, you draft players, you sign free agents. You're essentially kind of just running the entire team. Or you can choose to play as a single player in the game. And the big difference there, I think, than any other game out there sort of does, we try to make it as, like I said, flexible and customizable as possible. So instead of limiting people to saying, well, you can only start as a rookie, or you can only create a fictional person and try to, have a career with them, we set it up so that you could play as any player in the entire league. So if you wanted to be Tom Brady or Peyton Manning, you could. If you wanted to be the third string quarterback on the Chiefs, you could do that. We also allow you to create your own player. We allow you to go in as the rookie version of a specific set of legends that we have in our game. So if you want to be the rookie version of Joe Montana and kind of be in today's NFL and see how you stack up, you can choose to start as that. There's a lot of different ways you can kind of play as a player or a coach. Coaches are the same way. You can choose to be any real NFL coach now. So if you want to be Mike Tomlin or Andy Reid, you can, or you can create your own fictional coach and try to kind of take over a team and make your mark. So we threw everything but the kitchen sink in this mode. I think we ended up with 85 screens. It's the largest addition we've made to a football game that I know of in the history of Madden. It's much more full-featured and has more depth than the original Franchise mode was when it debuted. Got a ton of cool stuff in it. So, we've tried to do it. The key is we don't want anyone to ever think when we put out a game that it's just a roster update. We hear that from time to time from the fans, and, we figured out a way to take a huge sort of evolutionary step in one cycle. So I know last year when Madden 12 shipped, the fans' feedback was, well, is there any way in online franchise you guys could maybe add the salary cap? And what we've done is blown all of that out of the water and given them a new gigantic mode that has everything they've asked for. So.
Yeah, that was me. I would have been one of those fans because the last 2 years, one of my first questions to Anthony Stevenson, who I've interviewed the last 2 years for Madden, I said, "How come you guys don't improve online franchise? What's going on with that?" I'm like, and he mentioned that it's, it was one of the reason he gave was that it was one of the game modes that was played the least. And, even though the hardcore, fans are really into it, a lot of times seasons don't finish. And I'm like, he put it that way. I was like, yeah, I understand because I have been in a lot of leagues that don't even get past week 1 or 2. So I was very happy to hear it when the news broke about, connected careers. I was like, oh, okay, they were working on this the whole time. And you personally were very involved in this, obviously. It's good to hear and very much looking forward to it. And, I got so many questions about this. One thing I want to ask, when you start your career as a coach or if you create your own player, I know you guys have incorporated Game Face, which you can use on the Fight Night franchise, and of course the Tiger Woods franchise had it for several years. Now, can you apply your face to the coach, or can you also do it to the player? Can you see yourself through the face mask, your actual photo Game Face, or is it only for the coach?
So you can actually do it to either one.
Okay.
So you can upload a game face for your fictional coach if you want, or for your fictional player if you choose to start as that person. It's a pretty easy process. You kind of go online. We have a website. You upload your game face. You download it to your profile, and then when you go in and choose to start your connected career, there's an option that says use game face, and you can select it from there.
Okay, so and will I be able to, I already have one uploaded that I've used for Tiger Woods. Will I be able to grab that same one for Madden? Will that all be seamless?
I think you actually have to create a new one because we use different models when they're applied. So you'll probably have to go on the website and actually create a new Connected Careers Madden specific one. But it shouldn't take too long to create it. And I've seen some guys on Twitter that have sent me kind of the look of their guy, and we've had guys internally that have put themselves in the game, and it's pretty impressive when you can actually see yourself on the field.
Now, you mentioned you can have a couple buddies in a connected career. You can have up to 30, I assume. Someone can be controlling every team. Now, let's say if I'm a Bears fan, so let's say I'm doing my connected career with the Bears, and I have a buddy who's just playing specifically with Aaron Rodgers on the Packers. What happens when we face during the season?
So you're going to play each other. So I think that's kind of the beauty of connected careers is however you choose, whatever character you choose to play as, when you guys meet on the field, if he's only controlling Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be controlling just Aaron Rodgers. So he's going to be dropping back, throwing the ball, and you're going to be controlling the entire defense. So what we've kind of noticed so far, and what's exciting about once the game's going to release and a lot of people are going to start playing it, is there's all different kinds of strategy now. Like before when you played Madden, it was all about you controlled the entire team against someone else controlling the entire team. And it was definitely a chess match there, but this is different, So you're going to have to think about, if your buddy's playing as Aaron Rodgers, how do you shut down his game as a quarterback? And, one of the decisions we made fairly early on is we were trying to decide, if you're just a quarterback, what are your responsibilities on the field? Do you get to call plays? Do you get to audible, that kind of stuff? And we brought in a lot of community members, talked to them, sat down, really kind of hashed out exactly how this should work. And at the end of the day, we could either go in two different directions. One was, well, you kind of restrict quarterbacks from not having a lot of control, and you only let them really kind of have the computer call the play for them. They go out there and just run the play that was called. And what we found while we were actually testing that, because that's how the old superstar mode used to work, was that people got frustrated, aggravated, and it just wasn't a lot of fun. So we kind of broke with reality a little bit there. And so for every position, you actually get the ability to call plays.
Oh, that's
so
good.
If you're a quarterback, you can go in and say, I'm the quarterback of the Packers. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I want to run down the field and run every single play on this drive, or I want to pass every single play. We give you that ability now.
Okay. Yeah, as someone who has played Road to Glory for NCAA, that's good to hear because you get tired of running the bubble screen when that's called every time.
Yeah, and we're always trying to improve our play calling logic, but I agree. Like at one point in the process when we were trying to make this decision, I was playing through a lot of games, and our creative director Mike Young was playing through a lot of games, and I just kept finding, especially on different teams that had a different style of offense or scheme, which is another big part of connected careers. But like if there was a team that threw the ball all the time and I chose to be a running back on that team, let's say a good example is I'm a Lions fan, Detroit Lions fan. They throw the ball obviously a ridiculous amount of times. They always throw to Megatron. You know, they're up and down the field. Stafford's throwing the ball. If I wanted to be a running back in the Lions because I'm a fan of the Lions and I go on that team, when I started playing when the computer was calling the plays, I think I got 1 carry per drive. So I was sitting there going, this is not a lot of fun. I'm not getting thrown to. I'm not getting to run the ball. So we kind of made that decision to make sure that the mode was fun and that, you know, you still had that chess match between, you know, yourself if you're controlling the entire Bears team and your buddy controlling Aaron Rodgers, and he's going to sit there and try to outthink you, and now he at least has the tools to do that.
Now, this is interesting now. So in the head-to-head, he'll still just control Aaron Rodgers. Now, this is something, I asked a similar question 2 years ago when NCAA added the offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator in their online dynasty. I asked Ben Hallmiller, I was like, so what happens when they play head-to-head? And in NCAA, it'll just default to you just control the game. It'll just be like a regular game. So now if my buddy's controlling just Aaron Rodgers, when I'm on offense, is he just sitting there watching his defense? And does he have any control over the defense? Does he call a play, or is he just watching like he'd be watching like a simulation?
He's basically kind of in spectator mode at that point.
Really? Interesting. Huh.
And you know what's funny? Like when we first started talking about that early on, the technical limitation there is that we don't have the ability to have Super Sim in online games, which is typically the way offline if you were to play. Like if you're only on offense and you're a quarterback, when your drive ends, we're going to Super Sim through the defensive part and get you back on the field. So we don't have that in online because that causes a lot of problems with people trying to match up with each other. And can cause people to kind of like lose connection with each other and that kind of stuff. So when we first started talking about it, we thought, I wish there was a way we could make the experience a little more compelling when people are playing against each other if they're forced to watch. And the one thing we've actually found playing the game a lot internally and a lot of the community guys is people actually really like sitting and watching the other guy try to drive down the field. And what we've had happen is like we've watched people and they're, hoping that the guy throws a pick or turns the ball over or, has a 3 and out. And because the drives usually don't take that long in Madden and you're not talking about like a 7 or 8 minute drive most of the time, you're back on the field pretty quickly. So it's kind of an interesting dynamic, and I was a little concerned about it early on, but we found that people actually like it a lot. So be interesting to see when all the fans get to play it, but it's kind of a different experience.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And, if you're playing your buddy and you're on the headset or in the party, and you don't have to worry about picking the defense, I'll be in my friend's ear. I'll be giving him a hard time.
That's what we found a lot of. Like, guys will be yelling at the other guy going, oh my God, I can't believe you just picked that play. That was horrible. My defense is going to shut you down. Like, all this stuff, even though they're not controlling the defense, they're sitting there like egging the guy on and messing with him and trying to second guess everything he does. So it's definitely been an interesting dynamic that I don't necessarily think we kind of saw coming, but it's been kind of fun to watch it.
We're joined by Josh Looman, senior designer for Madden NFL 13, which will be in stores on Tuesday, August 28th. I have so many questions about connected careers, Josh, and I wanted to ask, how is off-season structured? Again, I always go back to NCAA because they've had the online dynasty for several years. They go week by week in the off-season. Will it be something similar in connected careers? How is that set up?
Yeah, we recognize that, I play NCAA a lot, and, there's a lot of fans on the Madden team, and we recognize that that's a pretty good model, especially for an online league. So one of the things we did, kind of going back to what I was talking about, combining online franchise, offline franchise, superstar, we wanted to make sure that whatever we build, online and offline, were the exact same experience. Because what we've kind of gotten into in the past is when you have two different modes, when you want to add something new to them, it takes double the time. So what we did is we tried to structure the off-season so that it was set up so that you have stages, kind of like NCAA, but it works very similarly. So you have a stage where you're signing free agents for 2 or 3 stages in a row, and then you go into the draft as one stage, and you have retirements happening throughout the entire offseason. So throughout the entire process, you'll go into stage 1 of the offseason, do a task, advance, go to the next stage, and do things then. So it's very similar to NCAA, and fans of that model should be pretty comfortable with it.
Right. And you talked about classic players earlier, and I want to go back and touch on that. You're a Lions fan. I'm sure you probably want to play with Barry Sanders. I'm a Bears fan. I'm looking forward to checking out Walter Payton. Are the classic players, are they all available right off the bat? Do you have to unlock anybody, or how does that work?
So there's I think there's definitely some tie-ins with Mutt. I don't know all the exact details on that stuff.
Okay.
I know Mike Young has worked pretty closely with the Mutt team and that kind of thing to figure those things out. I know that I think there's a plan to. Well, I won't say anything. So I don't know exactly how the whole thing works. I know that there will be some available from the start. Some are unlockable. And people should stay tuned for more, information as we go along to kind of figure out how that whole thing's going to work.
All right, sounds good. Now, you guys are going to have a website for online. What will you be able to do from the website for your Connected Career?
There's a lot of good stuff. We're still trying to figure out exactly what's going to be available from the start. I know we'd like to roll out portions of it as the season goes along and try to make improvements to it in the future. So I think the initial start is probably going to let you kind of keep track of your league, get information on it, track your legacy score as a player or a coach, that kind of thing. And then as we go along, we'll probably try to roll out more and more things that allow you to be interactive with the league.
Now, Josh, I want to talk a little bit about the engine, the new Infinity engine. You touched on it a little bit earlier. For those, how is this going to change the way people play Madden now?
So Infinity engine's huge. I mean, that's in terms of gameplay. Again, like Connected Careers, in my mind, is the largest game mode feature that we've ever released in a football title, and
Right.
I think the Infinity engine is probably the largest gameplay upgrade. I know I've been at, like I said, I've been at EA for 10 years now. It's the largest single-year addition we've ever made, and it really does make the game feel so different. When I was at E3, we had a lot of people come by and kind of play, and we had Snoop Dogg come by at one point, and a couple of I think the guitarist for Korn, and a couple people, but those guys are all pretty hardcore Madden fans, and when Snoop came in and started playing, I think the look of shock on his face for the first 5 minutes was just priceless, because the way he was used to seeing Madden kind of play out and have these canned animations that play after play, you sort of always expect to see the same thing over and over, and then seeing this organic gameplay where guys were tripping over each other or running into each other and bouncing off and taking off down the field, that kind of stuff. Once you see it and get your hands on it and play it, eventually I think it'll become to where it feels like this is what Madden should have always been. But I think initially you're going to look at it and go, wow, this just feels so different. I think that's the awesome thing about the Infinity engine, is it makes gameplay just feel like it's evolved within 1 year. And I think that's what I love about Connected Careers. It really is sort of, in my mind, and I'm biased, but I think it's the best career mode of any sports game on the market now. So those two things together in 1 year, that's a massive change to Madden. So we're pretty proud of it and we're excited.
Now that you have the the real-time physics and the collisions and the guys tripping over each other, does this eliminate that? I always call it kind of like the ghost defense. Sometimes I'll throw a pass to a receiver, get picked off. I'll go back, look at the replay, and you'll see the cornerback's arm go through the chest or go through the arm of the receiver. Will that eliminate all that now? Will we no longer see that, and would we see maybe a pass interference instead of
it really does.
I guess the ghost interception?
Yeah, it really makes a big change, and it makes the gameplay, in my mind, feel so much more authentic now. When things happen, they make sense. And like you said, it's not, some guy's arm going through some other guy's leg, that kind of thing. And it really, when you sit back and, I don't think I've ever seen fans and people working on the game watch replays more than they have this year. In the past, you'll have a big play, and just because it was an exciting big run, you broke a tackle or two, you go back and look at the replay. But I've seen people watch a replay now on a 3-yard reception, just because so much is going on in the field that they just look at every single thing. And, people are in shock how different the game looks. So, I think it should eliminate a lot of those problems and make the results on every play feel much more authentic and make the gameplay much more enjoyable.
Can you share any information or any news about the demo for Madden NFL 13?
I'm actually way out of the loop on that. I just got back from a pretty long vacation in Yosemite National Park where I completely shut off my cell phone. So I don't know.
Come on. Am I talking to Mitt Romney or Barack Obama here? Come on, Josh. I know you're in the loop.
Like I'm kind of the down in the dirt, nuts and bolts guy, on the career mode, and I honestly don't know what it's coming out. Brad would be a much better person to ask about that.
All right, I'll shoot him off an email as soon as we're done,
okay.
And I'll see if I can get anything from him. All right, well, Josh, I appreciate your time. Last question. You mentioned you're a Lions fan. I actually didn't know that. Megatron, Calvin Johnson's on the cover.
Yep.
Were you stuffing the ballot box down there? What's going on here?
I wish. I was really excited about that. It was exciting for me to kind of be able to help lead the vision on this new mode. I was the lead designer on NFL Head Coach 09. Been a big career mode guy my entire career, and really like to dive into the authentic, sort of realistic, deep game modes, that kind of stuff. And I felt like sort of everything came together this year when Megatron was on the cover. He's my favorite player. Love the guy, love watching him play, and everything turned out great. So, it's exciting. I couldn't ask for anything more.